Hey, before we start, I want to tell you something. I spent 12 days on this episode, so please watch it till the end, and I promise you, you will not be disappointed at all. What killed Khamenei? Go ask anyone right now, and they will say missile strike, Israeli jets, Operation Epic Fury, and honestly, they're not wrong. But they only have half the picture. Because what actually killed the supreme leader of Iran was a parking spot. Do not be confused, let me explain. On Pasteur Street in Tehran, right outside Khamenei's heavily secured compound, his bodyguards and drivers would park their personal vehicles every single morning after dropping him. Just ordinary cars in an ordinary parking area, nothing dramatic about that at all. Except, there was a traffic camera positioned with a very specific angle overlooking that exact parking spot, and for years every single frame from that camera was being encrypted and sent in real time to servers sitting in Israel. Khamenei believed he lived inside an impenetrable fortress. But he did not. It was a fish tank, and Mossad had been watching from outside the glass the whole time, and the man inside had absolutely no idea. On the 28th of February 2026, 3 strikes hit 3 locations in 60 seconds and 40 senior Iranian officials died alongside their supreme leader. The story for the news world is all about missiles and air power. But it is not. This is a Mossad story and a CIA story. My name is Raman, and this is Raman Effect, and this story started in 2001 with one sentence from an Israeli prime minister that quietly set a 25-year operation into motion. In 2001, Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon called in his new Mossad chief Meir Dagan and said something that sounds almost too simple to matter. He said what he wants is Iran, and that's their target. That's it. One sentence. And from that moment, Mossad stopped trying to do 10 things at once and pointed everything it had at a single enemy. Not to react to Iran, not to watch Iran from a safe distance, but to understand Iran so completely, its leadership, its daily patterns, its routines, its human habits, that when the political decision to act finally arrived, there would be no hesitation, no margin for error. That 25-year project is what made February 28th possible. The missiles were the last 5 minutes of the story. Everything that came before them is what we need to understand. Tracking the supreme leader directly is nearly impossible, and Khamenei knew that better than anyone. Smartphones were banned from his inner circle. His compound was regularly checked for listening devices, and his daily schedule was kept deliberately unpredictable so that no outsider could establish a pattern. So Mossad did not try to find Khamenei, they found his bodyguards instead. The bodyguards still used mobile phones, and Unit 8200, which is Israel's Signals Intelligence Division and the same team that built Stuxnet, the cyber weapon, that same Unit 8200 had been quietly pulling data from those bodyguard devices for years. Not conversations, just the invisible information underneath them. Who contacted them, where phones were registering when a group of people all moved towards the same location at the same time. Now take that data and cross-reference it with years of camera footage being streamed back to Israel, and you stop looking for one man and start seeing a living map of every single person around him. The files eventually built on Khamenei's protection detail, including home addresses, shift timings, daily routes, and which bodyguards were assigned to which senior officials on which specific days. Think about what that actually means. When you know all of that, you know exactly where the person those bodyguards are protecting will be. One Israeli intelligence official described the depth of this knowledge by saying, and I quote, "We knew Tehran like we know Jerusalem." And when you know a place that well, you notice the moment something does not fit. In the weeks before this strike, analysts from both American and Israeli intelligence noticed unusual activity around the Pasteur Street compound. Preparations that pointed toward a major leadership meeting being organized for a Saturday morning. This was the window they had been waiting for, because once open war formally begins, Iranian leadership would immediately go underground into heavily reinforced bunkers and become completely unreachable. What made that Saturday window actually usable was something very human about Khamenei. He had those bunkers available, but he did not always use them. For example, Hassan Nasrallah, who was the leader of Hezbollah and Iran's most powerful ally in the Middle East, had spent years living permanently underground for his own protection before Israeli strikes finally killed him in Beirut in 2024. But Khamenei had not done that. He still came to the office, he still held his morning meetings at his desk, That ordinary habit of going to work on a Saturday morning is what made him reachable on that specific day. For a strike of this size, Israeli military rules require a real human source on the ground to independently confirm the target is physically present, and that confirmation came from the CIA. A CIA source reported on the morning of February 28th that Khamenei was at the compound and the meeting was going ahead. 2 Israeli officers independently verified the full picture. The decision was made, and then, in the final minutes before the jets released their weapons, Israeli intelligence quietly disrupted roughly a dozen mobile phone towers near Pasteur Street. Not a full blackout, just enough that every phone in that area showed as busy when called, so that any last-minute warning trying to reach the protection detail would have hit a dead end. 30 precision missiles, 3 locations, 60 seconds. It was all over before anyone in the compound could pick up a phone, run to a door, or do anything at all. You know what is actually wild about those traffic cameras? The CIA helped build Iran's surveillance system. Yes, you heard that right. Back in 1957, American intelligence officers walked into Tehran and helped create SAVAK, which was the Shah's secret police, and along with it, the entire blueprint for how to monitor and control an Iranian population, the networks, the systems, the logic of watching your own people from every angle. Now, fast forward to 1979, the Islamic Revolution happens, the Shah is thrown out, and the new Islamic Republic looks at everything the CIA helped build and makes a very deliberate decision. We are keeping all of this, same surveillance logic, same architecture, same cameras watching the same streets, now used by the new regime to track protesters, silence dissidents, and keep itself in power decade after decade. But what the regime did not know was that Mossad had quietly tapped into those exact same cameras years earlier and was watching right alongside them. So when Khamenei was being tracked through that Pasteur Street camera every single morning, he was being watched through a surveillance system his own government was operating that was originally designed by the same people who eventually came back and killed him. But killing Khamenei was actually only the first half of what this operation was designed to do, and the second half is something that changes how you understand this entire story. You see, Iran's constitution has a very specific process for choosing a new supreme leader when the old one dies. A group of 88 senior religious scholars called the Assembly of Experts has to formally sit together, deliberate, and elect the new supreme leader through a proper vote. And the reason that process matters so much is simple. Without that vote, whoever takes power has no real religious or legal authority behind him. He just has force. On March 3rd, Israeli jets struck the Assembly of Experts building in the city of Qom, while these scholars were actually inside holding that exact vote to choose Khamenei's successor. The building was flattened. Subsequent sessions were moved online because no physical location was safe anymore. President Trump confirmed what the broader operation had removed when he said, and I quote, "Second and third place is dead." And if you have watched our previous 2 episodes in the series about the IRGC, you already know what happened inside that vacuum. The IRGC pressured assembly members under what those members themselves described as an unnatural atmosphere. Those arguing against their preferred candidate were cut off mid-discussion. A rushed vote was held, and on March 8th, 10 days after his father was killed, Mossad Khamenei was announced Iran's 3rd supreme leader. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Years before his death, Ali Khamenei had reportedly told assembly members he never wanted the issue of his son's succession raised at all, not as a personal objection to Mossad specifically, but as a matter of principle. The Islamic Republic had spent 47 years insisting it was not the Shah's monarchy. Father to son, power passed down by blood, that was the one thing that the 1979 revolution was supposed to have permanently buried. The IRGC honestly did not care. Mossad is now supreme leader. He has been under US sanctions since 2019, has reportedly already been wounded in the ongoing conflict, has never once given a public speech, and has been told by both the Israel and Trump that he needs their approval to survive. I mean, come on. That is not a supreme leader. That is a target with a specific title. For 2 decades, the honest assessment of Israel's operations against Iran was always the same. You can slow Iran down, but you cannot stop it. February 28 was built on a completely different idea. Do not just hit the leader, hit the person meant to replace him, hit the body meant to choose that replacement. Hit all 3 at the same time before the system has any chance to respond. Whether the Islamic Republic actually survives all of this, whether the IRGC manages to hold enough of the system together, that is genuinely an open question right now, and I will not pretend I know the answer. But we might discuss in the further episodes, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.